Hyundai always seems to be one step ahead of the game when it comes to vehicle design. This is no exception. We have today the 2024 Hyundai Tucson N-Line HEV. Now, there hasn't been too many changes for 2024. The one big, massive, and most important change for 2024 is the N-Line now comes with the hybrid electric system, which is a huge plus for a vehicle like this. I'm James, this is Test Drive. Let's look at this all new hybrid electric N Series Tucson. Let's go. So up first, we're gonna start with the engine. We have Hyundai's 1.6 liter turbo, directly injection 4-cylinder Smart Stream engine. We're also looking at 226 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. Now that's combined with the gas motor and the electric motor. We're also getting a 6-speed automatic transmission, and good news, all-wheel drive comes standard on this one. So now we are looking at a 1.49 kilowatt hour battery, and its max output is only 64 kilowatts, but so far it's getting the job done. Now the price as tested for this one is $43,520 Canadian. So first up, as usual, is the front end for the Hyundai Tucson. We have this really nice, it almost looks like a darkened chrome front end, and even the emblem, even the Hyundai logo is like that kind of like darkened chrome material it looks like. And I really like the way the grille here blends in with the daytime running LEDs. I like the way it blends in with the turn signals. It just looks like fluid and really nice. And when you're gonna slap an N Series badge on it, you need it to look aggressive, and I think it does a good job of that. We don't have a front-facing camera. We also don't have any parking sensors up front here. That's not included in this trim. We do also get these main headlights right here, nice and bright at nighttime, especially in the winter. Very nice to have. I like the ground clearance on this thing. Not too high, not too low, just perfect. And I really like this gray metallic paint that we have on here. Everything just flows. I feel like this is the best paint color, in my opinion, that you could go for, because it just makes everything look like one piece. It just looks fluid. And that's what you're looking for when Hyundai says this is an N Series, and I like it so far. So let's take a look at the rest. Now we come on to the side profile, where you could see kind of how big this SUV really is. It's like a more compactness, but you'll be surprised when I take you on the interior how much room I actually have back there in the rear. I really like that standing at the side profile, you can really see the different curvatures, the different lines that this car has. I also like that we have an N-Line badge right up front there. We also have a button that's gonna unlock and lock the door for you. So far, I've had ice rain last night, and this button still worked in the morning when the door was a little bit frozen. I love the N logo on the wheels here. They look very nice. I like pretty much everything about the side profile. It's very, very clean, very nice. And again, this paint color makes everything look even better. So let's head on to the rear. So last but certainly not least, we have the back of the Tucson. We have this really nice diffuser. That is the thing that stands out to me the most here when I looked at it from the back of the first time. And we get this nice dual exhaust. I love that. Really fits in the theme with the N Series. We also have this nice tail light bar that wraps around, and then it has like a spikes. It just looks aggressive. It looks like the front end. The front end looks aggressive. The back is also aggressive. These tail lights are also very aggressive looking. You got this nice light bar that wraps around. Then you have like these spikes that come down. They're really nice. I love the look of it. The Hyundai logo almost looks like it's part of the rear windshield here. We also have kind of like a spoiler thing here that's very nice. Kind of have like nice little airflow spikes on the top. I like the look. I just like the look of the rear in general. But we'll pop the trunk. I'll show you what that's looking like. Of course, it's automatic. Hyundai is very good at adding that stuff. And we have a ton of space as the sun comes out, just to, exemplify all the space. When I tell you that this car doesn't look very big and it also doesn't drive very big, I mean that you still have so much space. And I'm kind of wondering how they did that. It's very impressive. I like the rear. You got a ton of space. Good job, Hyundai. So the back seat for the Hyundai Tucson, I'm telling you, there's a bunch of room in here. I like the nice stitching here on the seats already. We can hop in here. Now, once we're on the inside, for reference, I'm 5'11". I drive kind of further back in the seat, and still I have a ton of legroom. It's honestly like surprising me, and I keep like racking my brain trying to figure out how Hyundai have figured out how to do this, how they've made like a smaller looking kind of SUV. It's not subcompact like the Kona, but it's like, it's compact enough where like I have a bunch of space, and it's not a very big car, or at least to me it doesn't feel like it. I love this. I got a ton of headroom. I've got this nice panoramic sunroof. It's just like no problem. The seats are also very comfortable. The only thing is they do not include heated seats this time. You have to go to the higher trim, or it's not even a higher trim, it's the same trim, just not, you don't get all the sporty features. That's the only difference that we're looking at there. But for the price, it's not bad. We got some vents. We also have 2 USB-A's back here so you can charge your phones or whatever, but if you have USB-C's, you're gonna need to bring adapters. We also have this little guy here that's gonna fold down. Boom, we got some cup holders and an armrest. I can do a road trip in here, no problem, any length, no worries. This is very, very comfortable. Again, I'm very impressed with this space. All right, so now we are in the business end, the front seat of the Tucson N-Line, and it's got N-Line written all over it, trust me. Like, just starting off with the steering wheel, I've got like a nice black leather with like red stitching going through it. I also have the N badge. It's kind of like raised. It feels really nice to touch. I like it. Doesn't light up at night or anything, but you know, the fact that it's there, I'll take it. Got some paddle shifters here, so that's very N-inspired, we'll say. I also got some lane keep controls, my media controls, basically standard Hyundai stuff. If you've driven one before, you know where all of that stuff is. Completely digital gauge cluster, which I like, which is really snappy, really responsive when you're changing through your drive modes. It's snappy, the animations are quick, there's no lag, and I love to see that, so great job there. On the left-hand side, I have the automatic trunk button that I can open and close with. I have the 12-volt battery reset, which is a very cool feature. I also have the illumination controls and traction control on or off. In the winter, right now, I'll be keeping the traction control fully on. So moving on now to the infotainment display, also very big, wired Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto. I didn't see the option for wireless, which again is fine. I prefer wired, and I love that Hyundai is still including it. Please never go completely wireless. Personally, I don't like it, so I'm happy with that. Again, it's the same infotainment software that you've seen from Hyundai, Kia, all that stuff. It's very much the same. They have quiet modes, different things like that for you know, your kids and stuff. You want it to be quiet in the back, music in the front, you can do that. Very, very nice to have. You can also manage like, you know, your battery from there. You can kind of see different sort of different things. You can't see like the battery range or anything like that, but you can kind of control like your coasting settings. Basically, it's all going to be controlled through there. Now, we do not have any physical buttons. They're not really even haptic. They're like touch buttons, which I'm surprised Hyundai went this route. It does look really good, and everything's easy to use, and I have had no problem using these buttons, which is a very important thing I think you need to keep in mind. Yes, they did take away the physical buttons, but I do find it easy to use everything, and everything's laid out. Nothing's really tied into the infotainment system, but still with non-physical buttons, if the infotainment system fails, you always worry that these buttons will also fail. So far, nothing's failed, so I haven't been able to test that, so I can't tell you if it's gonna happen, and I'm not in the mood or even in the position to make it fail to test it. So we're not gonna do that, but so far, very good. We also have a little screen there too that you can actually see your temperature for your dual zone automatic climate control. Moving a little bit lower, I think this would be a wireless charging pad in some higher trims, but in this one we don't have it. We have 2 USB-A's as well as a 12-volt port right down there. Then I have like kind of like this gauge cluster, or not this gauge cluster, but the gear selector kind of cabin thing with the cup holders. And then I also have 3 levels of heated seats, 1 level of heated steering, and also the passenger gets 3 levels. You got a parking button because we only have a rear view camera out back, but that's fine. It doesn't show you 360, but I'm assuming this button on other models that maybe do have the 360, you're gonna get that, which is nice. We have a drive mode selector, it's a little button, and we have terrain modes as well. I'll talk about that when we take it for a drive. Now, I like this gear selector because it's like a chromed, it's piano black all the way around it, but it's like as if Hyundai listened, which is very cool to see, because yeah, the piano black buttons are for the, you know, the heated steering and the heated seats, but the high touch point, the most touch point of a car, arguably, is the gear selector, and I can't leave fingerprints on this because it's like a chromed out like black or like a chromed out gray with a little N logo in it. I love this touch, very good. It's very high touch point, and I don't have to touch the piano black around it. You can still put it, but I don't have to touch it because I'm going to touch this side, and I'm not leaving fingerprints, and to me, that's awesome. Now, last but not least, I find that when you look from the driver's seat, you can see like the car kind of curves in, like the vents and like the way that they've done the door sill, it's kind of like curves in. It makes you feel like, you know, you're in like not a box, like almost like an oval or a circle, and it's very nice. I also like these nice feely material inserts that they have that are like black and red. You can kind of see like a cross on the passenger side, which is nice. And then we'll move on to the seats. Extremely comfortable, nice heated seating. It's got like this nice cloth material, but it's like a breathable cloth. It's a very comfortable cloth. It's not leatherette, but I can't really take points off because it's a very, very comfortable, well-designed cloth, and I like it. And then another touch that I really enjoy is that you have like this plastic material on the seat that actually has the N logo in it. It's not like colored or anything, it's like a blacked out N logo, but it really looks fantastic. Adds that little bit of flair for the N series that you're looking for if you're gonna spend the money on this. So there you go. That's the interior. That was the exterior. Let's see how this thing drives on the road. We'll talk about the hybrid system and everything in between. Let's get to test driving. All right, so now we're on the road with the 2024 Hyundai Tucson N-Line HEV, which has been very good so far. I mean, the balance between electric and hybrid, like when it kicks on the engine versus when it doesn't, I can almost never tell unless I'm standing still at a stoplight or, you know, just sitting in a parking lot waiting for something. Then you can kind of notice it kick on and off. But when you're driving, like it just kicked on just there, no notice at all. And now I do have some drive modes. I got Eco, I got Sport, I got Smart. So let's actually pop it into Sport here. We'll kind of let it kind of slow down, let this traffic get past us. But yeah, it's really good. And I like the fact too that the battery actually kind of gives us a little bit of a beams here. So I'll actually just kind of clear this and we will give it a nice little rippy. Here we go. Engine kicks in. Yeah, really not bad. It's like really smoothly getting up to speed. It's nothing, like I said, the electric power isn't enough to like bang you back in your seat or anything like that, but it's nice that you're gonna slap an N badge on this car and it's also got a little bit of pep to back it up. No, this isn't a true N series. This isn't a true N car. Like it's not like a true N SUV, which would be fantastic, and I absolutely welcome you, Hyundai, to bring that back to me because I love the N stuff, and they've proven that it's just crazy what they could do with the N cars. But the N series, you know, it's nice that, you know, maybe they're not going to give you like a crazy supercharged engine or like not even like a turbocharged whatever, and it doesn't do 300 horsepower or anything like that, but I like that it has a good pickup. I like that it has a little bit of pep in its step. It's not slow off a line. It's actually faster than most because you do have that little EV kick, which is very good. So like this system is just fantastic. So far, like I've had no problems at all with it. It's just been great, and you don't have to plug it in. And I think for some people that's going to be a huge plus because you don't need to constantly be like, oh, battery's low, got to plug it in, got to make sure I plug it in, got to make, you know, it regens when you brake, and especially if I'm in sport mode, it's not going to regen much. And it also tries to regen when you're coasting, and I believe it could also use some of the gas power to recharge the battery if absolutely need be. It kind of manages itself. You don't really get to choose, and it does tell you when you're on EV power. Like now, I have a green EV button in my dash telling me that I'm going 77 and I'm on EV power, which is very nice. And you can also see that when I kind of coast, it kind of, you know, charges the battery. You can see that it's putting a little bit of power back and then redeploying it just like a normal electric vehicle would do. And I love the system. I think it's a great idea. So speaking of like fuel economy, I've done like a lot of combined actually this week, a lot of combined city and highway, and I'll tell you the exact number that the car is telling me. So city and highway, the average is 9.2 liters per 100 kilometers, which is pretty fantastic. You know, you're expecting like the 10s, the 12s, and if you can save a little bit of money, you know, on fuel, especially these days, it's an absolute win in every category, and I just like that. Now, unless it's buried deep in the settings, I can't actually see the battery percentage, like how much exact percent I'm carrying in the electric battery, but I can see like it's kind of got like a bar. So right now I have like 4 bars of battery, so my battery isn't completely charged. When you go into the energy flow, into the gauge cluster, you can actually see where it's sending power to, and also whether or not you're using your electric or you're using both, which is really cool too. So, you know, it's just been phenomenal. I love the hybrids. They're so good. And like me, I'm starting a family soon, so things like hybrid SUVs are very at the top of my list when, you know, when you're expecting a child, you know, it's really good. Also, another thing, just talking about safety, is this has a standard all-wheel drive, and the all-wheel drive system, we just had a snowstorm. I know it doesn't look like it because we had rain right after, so it kind of washed everything away, and now the sun's out, so it doesn't look like anything happened really, but you can see the snow probably on my side. But yeah, the all-wheel drive system has performed very well. Like when I was in deep snow, because when I came home last night, the snow wasn't plowed at all, and I mean, it was just accumulating so quickly. So I popped it into snow mode. I could see that the all-wheel drive system kicked in the entire time, and I was just planted. Like obviously you're gonna slip a little bit because there's so much snow and like there was ice on top of it, but like I had confidence, and that's what you want, right? You want to really have confidence in your all-wheel drive system. It felt heavy enough in the snow that I was able to maneuver it. I like the all-wheel drive system. I like that it did limit my slippage, which was nice. So really good. I'm really glad that I got to test it just throwing me in. Obviously it was like nighttime when it really started, so I couldn't really film anything. I didn't have really anything to show you guys, but I can tell you, I can vouch, It's very good. You won't be disappointed by the all-wheel drive system. And lately I haven't. I mean, I haven't driven any Hyundais really in the winter until this one and the Palisade last year, but I didn't really have like a snowfall. The Palisade did very well, if you're wondering. Same thing as the Tucson did very well. Very, very proud of this SUV. I just think it's a good choice. The only thing I think people might have problems with is like the price is kind of getting up there with the Quebec tax included. You're looking at just over $50,000, which, you know, a lot of people are going to say it. I know you're going to say it in the comments, $50,000 for a Hyundai, whatever. You're going to say it. I know it. And I get it, because $50,000 is a lot, but also the whole market's going up too, and that's just kind of how things are going. So yeah, it's kind of where we're at. But I mean, you can go lower. You don't have to get the N series. You don't have to go with the Sporty. There is a lower trim that's going to maybe have a little bit less features, but you still get the hybrid system. And I think that's like where it is. You really want to save money on gas, and if you don't really want to spend too much, then you can kind of lower the price point for the car. Hyundai has a bunch of different trim options, so that's really good news. You know, obviously you will always like to say that you wish the car was cheaper, and that's really what it is. But like I said, I'm again, it's one of those cars, it's one of those Hyundais where I'm finding it really hard to say to pick something bad about it, because even the price is like, maybe the price is like, I wish it was cheaper, but I wish everything else was cheaper. So that's hard to like really nail that point down. But really, I think my biggest problem with the car is the fact that they kind of went away from the physical buttons. I like the physical buttons. I know a lot of other people also like the physical buttons, and they're just not there anymore. I don't even have like a physical button for my volume, so it does suck a little bit. But the plus side of it is that they've done really well, and I'm not like angry at the fact that they've got away from the physical buttons. These touch buttons work really well. I'm never like playing around with it, or I'm never missing it, or like mistouching it and it's doing something I don't want it to do, or like there's water on it or something and it's doing crazy stuff. It doesn't do any of that, and it hasn't glitched at all. So for that, it's still a pass. I'm just a fan of physical buttons personally, and I know some of our community is too, so I feel like that's something to point out. But go try it for yourself, like I said, and you might actually like it. So I think that's actually going to do it for the 2024 Hyundai Tucson N-Line. I don't want to make the driving too long, because I think everything else has been a little bit long. My first video back for 2024, but I feel like I should let you guys know you will see a little bit of a hiatus from me, especially in the month of January, as I am expecting my first child. So I can't really take any cars, because I have to kind of adjust to that, and then I'll come back while I'm still taking care of the kid. I'll come back in like maybe a couple of weeks. So Niall and Victor, they've been keeping you guys entertained this whole time, even when I haven't had a car, because the switch over from the new year has been a little bit complicated. But I managed to get one right before I actually have the child, so it's going to be good for that. And then I'll be able to kind of give you more insights on what it's like to have a child with these kind of cars. So that's also really cool. So I just feel like I should let you guys know that I will be gone for a little bit, but I am not gone forever. Trust me, I want to do this every day that I exist. So, so I'll be back with a vengeance with some really nice cars. I've got some stuff lined up for you guys you're really gonna like. I know Niall and Victor have some really nice stuff over in Ontario that they're gonna like. We're just a whole team now, so you gotta subscribe for that. I mean, who's doing it? We got a full team. We'll look at a car once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, because we want to show you literally everything, because it's really hard to choose, especially in today's market. It's really hard to choose what car you want to buy. And us here at PRN, we want to be the ones that help you make that decision just a little bit easier by showing you everything, giving you different perspectives, different opinions. Niall is going to have a different opinion on this car. Victor is going to have a different opinion on this car. Everybody's going to have different opinions, and it's just good to hear from everybody, and I love that we're able to do that here on PRN. So subscribe for all that. You can become a member if you want, but subscribing is absolutely free, and what helps us the most is if you like this video and you go watch another one. Could be mine, could be Niall and Victor, could be just Victor. You have got options, so just go and watch another one, and it really helps our channel out very much. So with that being said, I'll see you in a little bit, maybe not the next week, but I'll see you in a little bit. Take care.